So I think everyone has to like just agree to being on the recording. So thank you everyone for being here. Um, all the familiar faces are very comforting, but I've been so nervous all day and very excited. So I wanted to, before I begin, the presentation, I wanted just to share a little bit about my story, basically how I got here. Well, I am a student of a school called Pure Vitality. And they're out in Georgia. It's an online course. And this journey for me began about 10 years ago, where my recovery journey began. So in my recovery journey, I began to be, surround myself and be surrounded by people that were on this path of, I'm gonna say holistic care, but that's not what we called it. It wasn't coined then, or it could have been, but that's not what we called it. So we were always on this path of sobriety, which is abstaining from all substances that are mind-altering substances, and with that comes community. With that comes people who are also seeking other paths of eating well and exercising, basically self-care. So during the beginning, I want to say the beginning months of my recovery, when I started to take care of myself, and I started to realize that I was very tired all the time. I mean, extremely exhausted. And part of my sponsor telling me, guiding me, through the journey, go to the doctor, get checked out. And I did that, and I got blood work, and I come to find out that my doctor tells me I was malnourished. So that's a word that you don't hear often. Well, not in America. You typically hear the word malnourished associated to people in foreign countries, like small children, that you donate money, so they can have a nutritionist meal. But that was the case. And during that journey, again, I'm surrounded by people that are on this path, of wellness, and you start hearing different things. And a good friend of mine, she's here with me now. She had mentioned, I think I had a cough and I couldn't get rid of the cough. And she's like, well, why don't you try, I don't know what happened to the view right now, but it's okay. Michelle's messing around with it. But, and thank you to my friend Michelle and Marina. They're my co-hosts, so they're going to be helping me with the technical stuff. So she tells me something like, why don't you try eliminating milk from your diet for 30 days and see how you feel? So I'm like, okay. So, things like that, surrounding yourself with people that are on a wellness journey, surrounding yourself with people that are constantly learning and growing, in their life in different aspects, different areas. So part of my journey has also been, I've done vegan diet before, I've done like pescatarian diet, but these were things that I did because I had some health concerns, some health issues. And part of my journey, I mean, all I can say is I give credit to God that He just gave me these inspirations of wanting to be completely free of any chemical. So that was something that He just put in my heart, so that began with gosh, I'm trying to think of the first thing, but it ended up non-toxic household products, non-toxic personal cosmetic, like deodorant and things like that. I just started really being mindful of what I was putting into my body and on my body. Um, and 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 then also my journey also includes recently with another good friend of mine. She's here. A no sugar journey. A couple of friends are here, and that has been incredible, and it was not incredible. So this requires a lot of attention to detail, if I must say. I have to read all labels. But what was interesting was that I was addicted to the sugar, and I didn't realize it until I had to stop the sugar. I wanted it so bad. I did a couple of weeks or months at one point, and then I read an ingredient. It was like, oh, just 1 gram of sugar or just 2 grams of sugar. And I was like, oh, that's not, that's only 1 gram, and then I started, justifying, the sugar, but I couldn't do that. Sugar for me is like a drug. So I have to practice complete abstinence. But I realized this was yesterday, in the last couple of days, and today, a quick example is, I had a car accident 23 years ago, and I had a hip injury. And the doctors told me that I had bursitis, which is inflammation of the joint of the hip. And I've had that pain ever since. It's never went away. I went from not walking for a month to walking with crutches to walking on a cane, but 20 something years of not being able to sleep on that side of my hip. I had sensitivity even on my skin, from the inflammation. And today, I realized that the pain is gone. And the only thing that makes sense as to why that pain is gone is because of no sugar. So we'll get into a little more of that, but I just wanted to share that. And then I also want to share what my goal is. So my goal, let me back up a bit. So part of my experience was I was having some challenges at a previous job. And I was speaking to a good friend, and they were like, well, is there something else you'd like to do? I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my career. I really just didn't want another job. I just got to a point where I wanted to do something that was meaningful, something that was purposeful, something that I was passionate about. So one friend was like, you need to talk to this friend. And she was my friend, but I didn't know that she was in school. So I'm like, okay. So I connected with the other friend. She was a student of the school that I'm in now. And she was already practicing. She was doing case studies. So I connected with her. It made total sense to me. I didn't make the decision at that point, but I was already planning how I'm gonna do this, because I work, I'm a wife, how am I gonna juggle all of this? And she shared with me, she's like, they're having a sale, for the school, and I'm like, I prayed about it, and I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I did it. So this is also part of my schooling. This is a requirement that I teach a class. But this is something that I am passionate about, so I can, this is something that I'm going to continue doing. So back to my goal. My goal is to help others, join this journey of self-care, of taking control of their health, of taking responsibility of their health, of their wellness. And just coming side by side others with my experience to help them, get to where they want to be. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put up a slide. And then go right into I was gonna say the lesson. Like, yeah, I'm teaching a lesson. All right, so let's see here. All righty. So Michelle, can you let me know if you guys can see it okay? Okay, perfect. All righty. So what is holistic health? So I do want to also just make a disclaimer. You know, of course, there's so many levels, you know, of holistic health. But you know, in my schooling and you know the research I've done in the last couple of weeks, you know, I've done my best to just compile as much information that I thought would be kind of easy to absorb, but get to the point. Um, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. So holistic health is basically an approach to life. So I'm gonna just adjust. Okay, I'm just gonna adjust what I can see. Okay, so it's an approach to life. So it's rather than focusing only on illness, holistic health considers the whole person. And it's broken down into basically these three major parts, which is mind, body, and spirit. And the idea is to achieve maximum wellness, again, for the whole person. Now, a lot of things are going to seem a little bit repetitive, but hopefully it drives the point and, you know, it makes sense. So the, let's see here. All right, so I went too forward, but I'm just going to touch on a little more about the mind, body, and spirit. So for mind, when we mention mind, we're looking at mental and emotional well-being. Body is physical, but that can also include genetics and your environment. You know, well, how you are affected, you know, by your environment. Spirit is, you know, it's an unearthly, unworldly thing, but it's part of us that connects to God. And even for those who do not have a belief or faith in God, they still have faith in something. So that's something that you know, has to do with, you know, the spirit. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you guys just some basics on what the medical model looks at and what they focus on. So number one is they focus on symptoms. They see the body as separate parts, and they are willing to cause harm to resolve one issue. Now, I want to tread lightly on that because, you know, we have seen, you know, advances, you know, in our time, medical advances. But the fact is that some cures have been proven to be more harmful than the disease. And what I do also want to mention is that this is not to say that, you know, there aren't good, there's not good in the medical model, but just as an example, you know, you guys are watching TV, or even in your own experience, whenever you have been prescribed a medication, a drug, there's always a side effect. And the reason why I mentioned the watching TV is because, you know, they're always talking about the commercials. And, you know, I have to laugh on it because they're like, okay, it's going to help you with your heartburn, but your leg may fall off. You may lose your nails, you know, your eye may start twitching. I mean, I'm just wanted to make light of it, but those are the facts. You know, they are willing sometimes to cause harm to resolve one of the issues. And now the holistic model, what the holistic model seeks to do is to seek root cause. Again, they focus on the whole person and they will never sacrifice one part to help another. Now, that is not to say that some chronic symptoms, and I'll give you an example, like sleep deprivation or if a headache may not be, that may be a symptom that needs to be immediately addressed, because I mentioned earlier in the medical model about the symptoms, so those are symptoms that may need to be immediately addressed before the root cause. And the reason being is, number one, is that if we are sleep deprived, then that means that our body during sleep, our sleep hours, is not doing what it's supposed to do, which is healing itself, regenerating cells, and things of that sort. So let me go on to the next one. And then another thing I also wanted to break down was the whole person, because I'm mentioning whole person. Whole person, we're also looking at digestive health, water intake, basically lifestyle, stress management, relationships. So again, just kind of going back to mind, body, and spirit. So now, again, in comparison, the medical model is an easier system because they typically do not require one to make any lifestyle changes. So for example, you can go, unfortunately, we can go to see a doctor, and we get tested and we find out that we have diabetes. There's medication for diabetes. There are some doctors that will suggest exercise, they will suggest to see a nutritionist and things of that sort, but it's not required. On the contrary, the holistic model requires compliance. So the holistic model is not going to just give you a pill and tell you, okay, here's your pill, your diabetes is solved. This is something that you have to work together in relationship, with your either your practitioner, or this is for the holistic, basically for the holistic model. So that brings me to there are different holistic approaches and professionals, and one thing we are seeing now, that I'm seeing, is that there are a lot of doctors that are considered alternative medicine doctors and functional medicine. So let me see. Okay. And those doctors do practice holistic approaches. So another profession is chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, nutritionists, and colonic hydrotherapists. Now, let's see. So for example, when we think of a chiropractor, we may immediately think neck or back issues. But chiropractors do also help with if we're having any menstrual issues or headaches. And the holistic approach, again, is they perform manipulations to our spine so that our spine can function the way it was created to function. Sometimes we have like bulges and certain issues with our disc that cause it not to function properly. So a chiropractor will use those manipulation methods and what's called the adjustments to get you back to the point where your body is working and functioning properly. So see, I'm just looking at my notes, making sure I'm not missing anything. All right. Now, a few of the principles of the holistic approach is kind of like what I touched on with the chiropractor, is that the body can heal itself. Now, the body can heal itself, and I'll use this as an example. So did you know that when you break a bone in your body, your body will produce new cells and send those cells to heal that bone? So that's just an example of the body can heal itself. This is not like a mysticism, like your body is your own healer. This is how our body was created. The second part is one of the principles is to identify and provide support for natural healing. So a holistic provider may provide supplements, vitamins, minerals, but that is to support the natural healing, basically to support the natural function of your body. Another principle is that it's called the model of doctor as teacher. So I'm using the word doctor, but this could be you're a practitioner, a health coach, massage therapy. They want to educate you. They want to equip you with information so that you understand what is going on with your body. You can understand and do things to help the process. So they are always going to be in that teacher role with you. And then again, the main principle is for to heal the whole person. And I'd like to just stop and give an example. When I was working with a practitioner a couple of months ago, I did have some testing done, and I had some I was already taking supplements to support, just give an example, to support my liver. I was taking probiotics. Because I was having a lot of digestive issues, stomach problems. So I was doing everything right. And I call her and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm still, experiencing a lot of bloating. And she's asking questions and she's crying and she's like, well, how about stress? And just so happened to be that I had called her. We were speaking on a lunch break of mine, and I was so stressed out at work. And when she said that, I was like, the light bulb turned on. I realized that I was, so stressed out at work. And it's not to say that we are not going to experience difficulties in our life, that we're not going to experience stress. But the key is stress management. So I had become aware that there were things that were frustrating me, and I would have like this, almost like this physical reaction, like, oh, and many of you may relate. And I can even feel like a chemical release in my body, from the anger, from the frustration. And it was contributing to me experiencing the bloating, the uncomfortableness in my stomach. So I wanted to bring that up because that just goes back to the idea of, it's not just about supplements and exercising, it's also dealing with our emotional and mental health. All right. So now there is a path, to vibrant health. And these are some of the things that we, believe in holistic care, is that number one, food is medicine. And I say that, there's a lot of documentaries out there. I'm sure everyone here has Netflix or Prime. There's a lot of amazing documentaries. Some of them are Food Inc., Forks Over Knives, What the Health. And there are people that have shared their stories on not just weight loss, but people have reversed diabetes, and a lot of other things. There's a wonderful doctor, Brooke, I want to say Goldstein, but she has a program called Goodbye Lupus, and she reversed her lupus with food. So again, food is medicine. Whole health is a lifestyle. So this everything that we're that we're talking about, that I'm sharing, is a lifestyle. And it doesn't mean that we do this perfectly, but we do it, and just like riding a bike, fall off the bike, you get back up, you wipe your knees and you get back up and you keep going. But another part of it is to be able to support yourself for maximum results. This support, and we touched base on it about my experience, was that I had surrounded myself with this community, so I had emotional support. I talked a little bit about supplements that support, this journey. And another uh, thing that we didn't talk too much about, but well, I did in the beginning when I was sharing my experience, is detox and the removal of toxins. So we are all aware that we live in an extremely toxic world, chemically speaking, but there's our food is sprayed with pesticides. We have toxins that that we breathe when we're in traffic, fumes from other vehicles. So detoxing and removing all toxins is also part of this deal. And then the main point is, to have a quality of life. I think we all may share the desire to want to live a long life, but let's be realistic. We can be the healthiest person on earth, and we can pass that by something that has nothing to do with our health. But I like to focus on quality of life. Like I had mentioned earlier about removing the sugar. I have a better quality of life that I'm not living in constant pain. So that's one of the goals. Now, another important part of this journey is bio-individuality. So there is no one-size-fits-all approach to health, to holistic approach. So one thing that's very important is, as much as we may be so eager to want to supplement ourselves and go with the trendy vitamins or the trendy diets, it is very important to work with someone that will provide you testing so that you can know exactly if there are any deficiencies in vitamins and minerals, if you have any allergies, food sensitivities, things of that sort, or if you have any toxic chemicals, in your body, or toxins. So again, there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Each person is an individual, and each of us should be treated, as though. So I do want to thank everyone who's here. I hope that it all made sense to you. But I hope that in being here and supporting me, that you were inspired and empowered to take control of your life. And it's not, doesn't have to be done all at once, but I hope that a couple of the things that I've shared got you to a place where you're at least thinking and maybe gonna start looking at some things in your life that you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be putting this in my body. There's a doctor, a psychiatrist, Dr. if I'm pronouncing it right, Amen, spelled Amen, or Amen. He's a psychiatrist or psychologist, I'm so sorry, I'm not sure, but he talks about eating food that loves you back. And I love that because food makes us feel good, but does that food love us back? Is that food really causing good to us or harm? So you know what, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. But is that food really doing our body, good? I remember growing up and hearing the commercial of milk. Remember, milk does the body good. Well, I don't drink milk. That's a lie we've been sold. But so thank you guys for all being here. I wrote some notes. I just want to make sure I don't forget to say anything. But yeah, I just hope that this will help you to take responsibility, of your life. Because we'll have it in a short span of time, and we have a family and friends that love us, and the healthier that we are all around, the better friends we can be, the better daughters, mothers, grandparents that we can be. So it all works out together. So thank you guys so much for being here.